And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by Stubble McShave, who writes, Variety published viewing figures for HBO Max in a graph, and it showed a clear increase of views at the release of Wonder Woman 84 and Godzilla vs. Kong. However, it didn't show any clear bump in viewer engagement at the time when Zack Snyder's Justice League was released. Is this the final proof that there's very little interest by Warner Brothers to continue down the Snyderverse path? All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Stubble. Look, this, to me, this is, number one, not surprising. But number two, it's also kind of indicative of the fact that we live, you guys hear me talk about this a lot, we live in a 10 or 0 society, right? It seems like today, especially in online fandom, everything is either a perfect 10 or it's an absolute miserable 0. I like that movie. It's a 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Oh, I didn't quite like that movie. It's a 0. It's a 0. I mean, I kid you not, like just the other day I was talking about, man, I really enjoyed Godzilla vs. Kong. I mean, it wasn't perfect, had a few problems, but man, I really liked it. And I got this email from this angry dude. How dare you? Godzilla vs. Kong is awesome. How dare you trash Godzilla vs. Kong? I'm like, trash it. I've been talking about how much fun I had with it, how great it is. All I said is that it's not perfect. It has some problems, but that's the society we live in. It's 10, 10, 10, 10, or 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And it seems like that same mentality, everybody's trying to bring now to the results of the Zack Snyder Justice League HBO release. It's either absolute, complete, abysmal, miserable failure, or it was the second coming of the Godfather and the Sound of Music wrapped up into one. Like, there just doesn't seem to be any middle ground here. Look. Yes, Variety did publish this report that showed that Justice League did not have the impact that Judas and the Black Messiah had, that Godzilla vs. Kong or Wonder Woman had. Actually, let's go over and take a look at this. This comes to us from the folks over at Cinema Blend, quoting the Variety report, who are saying this. Variety's report shows that Zack Snyder's Justice League drew a smaller streaming share than fellow HBO Max offerings, Wonder Woman 1984, Judas and the Black Messiah, and Godzilla vs. Kong. Aside from Wonder Woman 84, which came out towards the end of last December, the other three movies all arrived within a roughly 1.5 month period, with Judas and the Black Messiah and Godzilla vs. Kong also running in theaters, whereas Zack Snyder's Justice League is being kept strictly on HBO Max for now, which you would think would give them larger HBO Max viewing numbers. That's all fair. But I would suggest two things to our 0 or 10 crowd, because I'm seeing some places on Twitter and online kind of taking that study coming from Variety and saying, see, the Justice League thing was a failure. It's like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't a failure. It got really solid numbers. It made a number of people very happy. What else can you ask for in entertainment? Then it got a bunch of eyeballs, and a lot of the people who watched it were very entertained by it. That's a win. That's a win. At the same time, there are some people going into Justice League being released on HBO Max as this was going to be the second coming. This is going to change everything. Warner Brothers is going to roll back everything, and they're going to fully back and invest in the Snyderverse. And what did I say the whole time leading up to it? I said, look, just temper your expectations. Warner Brothers already knows what kind of results they get from Zack Snyder DC movies. They've already seen what the results are. They're not going to be terribly different. It's going to make a lot of people happy, but it's not going to win over a lot of other people. It's going to be what it is. But you still have this extremism of people wanting it to be an absolute unmitigated failure or the absolute second coming of the greatest film ever made. And the reality is the truth is somewhere in the gray in the middle. Look, Wonder Woman 84, and we said this before when the initial numbers came out, but it bears repeating. Wonder Woman 84 was a brand new film coming off a massive successful other film in the first Wonder Woman. I love the first Wonder Woman film. Not crazy about Wonder Woman 84, I admit. But the first Wonder Woman was great. And it got All the critics loved it. All the fans, I mean, obviously not all the critics, not all the fans, but the critics loved it. The fans loved it. It was a huge box office success for what it was. It was the first truly huge success for the DCEU. So that's the sequel coming out. It's a brand new film. So it wasn't a retread or a director's cut or whatever. It was a brand new film that nobody had seen anything of it before. So of course it's going to have bigger numbers. Also, it's not 4 hours long. Everybody, it seems like people want to forget, and this discussion comes up with Lord of the Rings or this particular movie, whatever. Everybody likes to pretend like the length of a movie doesn't affect the interest in some people in seeing it. It absolutely does. A 4-hour movie is not going to appeal to everybody. So it was unrealistic to ever expect, no matter how good the HBO Justice League movie ended up being, or how bad, whatever, that it was going to meet the numbers of a Wonder Woman 84. Godzilla vs. Kong is not 4 hours. It's a brand new film, not coming off a huge success of King of the Monsters, but still, it's Godzilla fighting Kong. Judas and the Black Messiah. It's a brand new film. It's also targeted different to a different type of audience than a Godzilla vs. Kong or a Justice League movie. So of course it's going to get a certain amount of engagement. My point here is this. When Variety writes a report, and they should write this report, but when Variety publishes and talks about the results of a report and say that, Justice League didn't do as well in certain metrics as, say, a Wonder Woman 84, Judas and the Black Messiah, Godzilla vs. Kong, our collective response should be, and water is wet. Those other films are brand new. They're not director's cuts. They're not 4-hour versions. Of course they're not. But at the same time, it's not like nobody watched it and they gained no thing. So it's an important report. And yes, you're right, Stubble McShave. I think this is a report that does highlight why Warner Brothers really doesn't have any interest, and they've said this forever, in restoring the Snyderverse. I get it. That's fine. But that doesn't make it an abject failure. It succeeded on a lot of levels. So again, I would reject the both extremes of this, the 000 and the 10-10-10 crowd. As an interesting report, it's worth noting and taking a look at. You just need to know how to interpret it properly. That's all. You just need to know how to interpret it properly. So anyway, that's how I look at it personally. Question is, guys, how do you see that? Jump on down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys.